Welcome to the Sisterhood of Sweat. Today's guest is Amanda Valentine. Amanda Valentine is proof that dedication, passion, and strength can be ignited in anyone. Her positive messages of health and wellness are regularly promoted on the radio, on her podcast, and throughout social media, where her audiences are always eager to hear more about her weekly food prep process, daily fitness workouts, and her fun-loving outlook on life. Her genuine and engaging personality has also been recognized as a CMA award-winning radio host on Cincinnati's B105, where she also shares real stories about her weight loss and fitness journey. Amanda is not only lively and personable, she shows others how it is possible to change their lives, break old habits, and even have fun while doing it. I am super excited to have Amanda on the show today. It was very enlightening around the subject of why dieting doesn't work. Amanda lost over 117 pounds without dieting. Once she quit dieting, that's when she shed the weight. And it just goes along with what I always say. You have to shed limited beliefs and start paying attention to where you're resistant. Once you stop being resistant and start embracing the ways that you need to change, everything shifts. So without further ado, I want to welcome the one, the only Amanda Valentine to the Sisterhood of Sweat. Welcome, Amanda. I am super excited to welcome Amanda Valentine to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Well, Amanda is a dynamic radio personality, as you're going to be able to tell today, because she's just vibrant, full of energy and passion. And she's been on the radio in my area for 20 years. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but being on the radio for 20 years takes some staying power. Right?
Yeah, well, I haven't been on the radio in Cincinnati for 20 years.
Oh, okay, but 20-year radio
I know.
career.
Yeah, I've moved all over. I'm kind of a gypsy. So I moved here from Oregon. I was in Denver before that. I was in New York before that, and I'm originally from Illinois.
Well, Amanda's got quite a backstory today, you guys, and we're really going to cover how Amanda lost 117 pounds without dieting. Is that true?
That is true. Well, and that's after a lifetime of obesity. I've been overweight as long as I can remember. So I put it at 6 because that's when I can really remember, like, oh, I'm kind of wearing adult sizes. And so I was always, as I refer to myself, the fat funny kid. So I was always like just the big kid. Through grade school, through high school, I knew nothing about nutrition. I literally took extra band classes in high school, so I never had to step foot in the gym. So I was not into health and fitness at all. And then I yo-yo dieted through all of my 20s. So I did Atkins, I did Weight Watchers twice, I did South Beach diet. I did LA weight loss, which doesn't exist anymore. So LA weight loss was like the first big diet I went on, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. And then the moment that I stopped doing, their bars and all their stuff that they make you buy, all the weight started coming back on. And then I did South Beach. Well, I did Weight Watchers a couple times in there and gained weight. But like, I know so many people that had so much great success on programs like Weight Watchers, and I'm like, I'm not going to knock it, but I think it's just proof that nothing is one size fits all, that it's great for some people and it wasn't great for me. And then after that, I did South Beach. I lost 30 or 40 pounds before my wedding. I didn't eat a single carb for 3 months. And then when I got married, I just power drank and ate all the cake. And then all the weight started coming back on. And where I found myself kind of what I label now as kind of like my bottom is I was just really spinning out of control with binge eating. And even at the time, I wouldn't have labeled it as binge eating. I didn't know that's what it was. I just felt like, oh, well, you suck and you can't get it together. And I felt like I was out of control. Like I would hit multiple drive-throughs on the way home from work, go home and eat Wendy's, Taco Bell, and McDonald's all in one sitting. And then I would hide the trash from my husband because I just didn't want him to know that that's what I was doing every night. And every day I'm like, well, diet starts tomorrow. So I can just go all out tonight and order myself 2 large pizzas. And when the pizza guy comes over, I'm going to act like there's a whole party going on. But really, it's just me shame crying over pizza and hiding the pizza boxes under my sink. And from there, I was just like, this is not the life I want to live. I was living in Denver at the time. It's like one of the most beautiful places in the country. And I wouldn't even go outside. I just hung out inside and I would go drinking with my friends and I would eat and I just felt terrible. And I'm like, I felt like a prisoner in my own body. Like, this isn't who I want to be. And for me, being on the radio so long, it's like this, personality is in me, but if I'm not hidden behind a microphone, I would just clam shell up and didn't want anybody to see me. And I'd always wear so many scarves to try to cover up all my roles. And I'm like, I hate this life. And so I made the decision. It was a New Year's resolution in 2012. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to diet anymore. I've did that for a decade. It didn't work. I'm just going to make the best decision possible in every moment. And starting from there, I started day one super hungover because it was from a New Year's party. And I went to go do my morning show at, 4 o'clock in the morning and I had no food prepared. And I'm like, well, I told myself I was going to make better decisions. So I went to 7-Eleven and instead of getting a breakfast sandwich and a Red Bull, I got a fruit cup. And that was day one. And just from there, it was just trying to make better choices. And then I started walking and walking turned into running. And before I knew it, I ran my first mile ever my entire life when I was 30 and cried in the middle of the street because I'm like, oh my God, I ran a mile.
Oh, you make me want to cry. That's so great.
And then a year later, I was training for a half marathon. So it was just crazy. It's like I had to go through like a lifetime of just all this pain and trial and error to like finally get something that started working for me.
I love that. I love that. And I love what you said because it really echoes my last podcast about small wins
Mm-hmm.
to create those big wins. And you really echo it when you said it's like a daily decision. And I think that's what really I want to bring home is how it is a daily decision to choose better for yourself. Why do you think, though, let's get a little bit more into the nitty gritty. What was underneath the binge eating?
It's just how I just coped with everything. I was just having a
You're
bad day.
coping?
Yeah, of just having a feeling. It was just numbing out. Is my way of just numbing out the day. And I feel like so many people fall into that trap and you don't even realize it. And I think for me at the time, I didn't even put those things together. I just thought that I was just so consumed with food and I just loved food so much that it just like was my
That
siren
was your
song.
stress coping
Yeah,
mechanism?
oh, for sure. And so now I can feel myself and getting myself out of the binge eating or just even facing triggers is just knowing that I have a hard day or I'm just really stressed out that, it feels like that's what will calm me down. And then ultimately after a binge, then I would just feel physically terrible. I'd feel mentally horrible and, have to try to spin out of that. But all of it was just, yeah, coping, numbing out, trying to suffocate my feelings.
There you go. That is what I was getting at. So I think a lot of times we suffocate our feelings, and you were suffocating yours by stuffing in the food. You're like
Mm-hmm.
basically suffocating your feelings. And I think that's a big part, like the numbing out, the suffocating your feelings. I think when you do binge eat, it's about more than the food.
Oh, for sure. And it's really hard because kind of getting to the root problem of that, you have to really look at the ugly parts of yourself. And that's a really big ask. I mean, it's easier to just be like, hey, slap a diet plan on me and I just don't want to think about it. But really for some long-term success, I think that you really have to kind of dig deep and look at the reasons why you're doing those things. And I mean, it's hard. It's a hard process, but it's so worth it of whenever you go into a place where, like at least with binging, and through my podcast, I've actually learned, talking to experts are like, oh, you like clinically were like had an eating disorder. And I'm like, oh God, I never thought it was that bad. But it's that, you just spiral out of control and you feel completely out of control. But to like, instead of after that, just ignore it and be like, oh, well, that's gone now, let's move on, of to kind of sit with it and be like, okay, what feelings was I having before I went into that? And what can I do next time? And next time I feel that bubbling up in me, what's a better choice than sitting here and just eating? I mean, it was not even was eating good food. I will just even eat like a whole box of stale saltines just to eat. And I'm like, okay, so how do we undo this? And it's really just looking at yourself and your patterns and your habits, and everything is, like you said, is just small little changes. So it's like, okay, well, it's not like I'm going to flip the switch on that sort of thing, like it's going to end tomorrow. But like, you know what, instead of just scrounging for whatever horrible food I got around here, why don't I have some veggies on hand? So if I'm going to go into this manic sort of eating state, at least I'm eating like baby carrots and, and green peppers versus just eating like cans of chili or whatever is hanging out in my house. And so it's just kind of those baby small steps of, and every time it happens, just try to be just 1% better.
And it really goes along with what I always like to tell my clients is that we all have weaknesses. And it's, if you can look at your weaknesses and basically embrace the fact that you have them and plan strategies around them instead of beating yourself up constantly because you have weakness, because you eat that cookie, or because when your husband and you are watching football, he's eating chips, you want chips.
Yeah.
So finding that strategy is a huge part of your success.
Well, that, and just doing it because, you love yourself, because you're not punishing yourself.
Right. Love,
Yeah,
self-care. It's not,
totally.
it's not selfish to have self-care, to take care of yourself, to put that oxygen mask on yourself first.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
And
even what to the example of like my husband eating chips, of like, instead of me making a healthier choice, being like, oh, I'm being punished, I wish I was eating the chips, but I'm eating this instead. Oh, I hate myself. I'm salting these celery sticks with my tears. It's more of, well, I want to fuel my body. I want to feel good. Like I'm doing this for me.
yeah,
Like
right.
having that positive spin of like, well, I'm loving myself. I'm reaching my goals. I'm doing something good, instead of feeling deprived and angry about it.
And I love how you're speaking to that, because I always think of it, I never think of it as punishment to eat, healthy.
Yeah.
I know, like I heard you on one of your podcasts saying, oh, eating just celery,
Yeah.
like, oh, like,
Oh,
but
yeah. Well, celery
I
is
would
just
be that
boring.
girl. I would be that girl with the celery bag. I'd be like that girl with the broccoli, because it's just the way I think I was raised from a certain age, was about why I was eating the broccoli, why it was good for me, and learning the natural taste of food. Because when we're eating, let's face it, Doritos and fried foods and cheese and all those things, it's overpowering to your taste buds. So you can't even taste the natural taste of food. Like
Yeah.
your taste buds are just overly stimulated, as well as all the dopamine that goes to your brain every time you bite into a cheese stick.
Mm-hmm.
So you got all these things going on. And I think once you start, like you just start crowding out the bad choices and with some, good, healthy, some real food, not
Yeah.
processed, just eating real food.
Yeah, totally. And I think just as long
Yeah.
as, the fewer ingredients, the better. Like it's not as complicated as I think a lot of people want to make it seem. It's just like, well, the ingredients of broccoli is broccoli. So it's like, that's an easier choice than like, oh, here's a bunch of stuff I can't pronounce. Then, well, maybe you don't want to put that in your body.
But I love your approach, because it's like you're gonna reach people that are thinking it's a punishment. Like,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and I just have to laugh. I have a 8-week challenge going on right now, and one of my ladies came into me last night and she was talking about how her husband made a lean steak, and red potatoes, and and she was going on like when she was eating the potatoes, she was like, those are so good, and just going on and on about how great the potatoes were. And they're like, it's just potatoes, like what's but it was because she had cut out all the sugar, all the processed food, all the stuff. We've been on plan for 2 weeks, so now she gets what I'm saying about when you cut out all the garbage, you could actually enjoy the natural taste of real food.
Oh, for sure. And I think it's just so hard to get past that like hump if you're just eating so many processed foods and your palate is just used to that, that if you're used to eating Skittles, then strawberries don't really taste that
It's
good.
quick and easy too.
Yeah. But it's just like you have to give yourself a little bit of time. So then you like, I'm like we did, me and my husband did a 3-day fast, and just for funsies to see how he would feel. And my husband just like literally does nothing but like power eat Oreos and bagel bites. Like he eats like garbage. And so he did this thing for 3 days with me. And afterward, he's like, I have never just craved an avocado. He's like, and he, like, and he just had some raspberries. Like, I did not know that raspberries could taste this good. Like, right. Cause you just kind of give yourself a break from just eating all this junk. And then all of a sudden real foods taste good again, instead of like, oh, well, this isn't lighting my brain up like everything that I'm used to is.
And I love that you said that he was just like raspberries. and
Yeah, right.
and I remember, like, I've because I have a gym, I've led a lot of people through over the years, and I just remember telling one lady how she was gonna be begging me for butternut squash and sweet potatoes at the end, and she was like, no, I'm not. And I had told her, you won't want those pumpkin spice lattes when I'm done with you. You won't even like them anymore. She did not believe me. But once she had, really embraced just really eating full on healthy, she's like, darn it, you're right. It was like straight sugar. She's like, I could not drink the pumpkin frou-frou spice latte. And she was like, literally, she's like, oh my gosh, that sweet potato, that was so good. I just wish I could have more.
Yeah. It's crazy how that happens. And it's like, if you've never been through it, it's like, you don't believe that it's real. Like if you would have talked to me, an older version of me, I would have been like, yeah, no, that's gross. Like there's no way that I'm ever going to enjoy Brussels sprouts. Like you must be high. So it's funny how it changes.
It is. And I don't know about you, but I actually get to eat more than people that are eating fast food or just processed food in general. I literally eat more food than they do. Like I eat more because it's lower in calories and the volume is like, well, a big, huge salad.
Yeah.
That's a lot of volume, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I guess the thing is that if you will overeat it, you probably shouldn't eat it.
Yeah.
Like, I
It's
mean, that's
well,
what I think.
yeah, well, yeah, that's a thing for me too. It's like, I don't want to like never have those things again, but I also know what triggers are. And so like I like Girl Scout cookies. Like Girl Scout cookies are awesome. But for me, if you just let me go, a portion is an entire box. So, but it's like, well, if I bag them separately, if I take what an actual portion is, like 3 cookies, and seal them off in their own little containers and then have one at a time, it's just like a good gate to like stop of like, instead of just keep reaching back into the box of okay 3 and just and notice that you're done, and then sit with it and be like, okay, you know what, that was enough. I don't have to keep mindlessly going after them. And it's all, I've had to just learn all of these tricks for myself because
I
I
like that. Yeah.
I can't stop. Like I've never owned a chip clip that I've like, if a bag of chips is getting open, the whole thing is gonna end up in my tummy. So I've had to like, for me, I have to portion stuff out. And I'm such a meal prepper too. Like I prep everything out on Sundays because I need to, like, what for me, weighing and measuring things is basically just kind of a stop sign. And once I put myself on that stop sign and I sit with after eating that portion, I'm like, oh, I am full. But if the whole plate is still there and it's still full, I'll just like keep going. And that's been a long learning process for me too, of just thinking, oh, well, I'm just super hungry. I'm like, well, I'm not. It's just I've always been, my whole family was a member of that clean plate club. And so it's like, well, you don't finish until it's gone. So it's learning the right portions to, that you can clean your plate, but you're not eating 3,000 calories at once.
I love that. And I equally love where, I don't remember what podcast it was, but I was listening to some of yours today, where you said, if I can't stop eating it, I don't eat it.
Yeah, I try to keep those things like randomly. One of those things are cheese balls. I don't know why I have a thing with cheese balls, but
My
I just,
daughter loves cheese balls
oh, they're
too.
just so good. I'm like, I just don't have them in the house. Like I have known, like I can know what things I can trust myself with, and I can't. And those things give you no value. There is no reason to ever ingest like how much fake orange crap is in a cheese ball. Like they have no value to your body. So I'm like, you know what? I just don't have them around because it's just easier. And even with me, like I haven't had fast food in 8 years now, which is kind of intense, but because at first I knew I couldn't regulate it. It was either all or nothing. And now I could regulate it where I'm at now. I'm in a better place, but it's like, is there any value to having fast food in my life? There's not really. I mean, it's not
Right.
really going to do any
Yeah.
favors for me other than convenience. And I can find plenty of other better convenient.
Well, in the long run, it's not going to be convenient when you got to make a lot of doctor visits
Oh,
because
right.
you cram that stuff down your throat. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I always just think fast food is fast stuff, like it's just, if you're eating that all the time, it's not good for you. And it really, I just think what you said about what is this really doing for me at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Go
I
ahead.
think that's such a good thing way to like, just to frame it too, I think that just stopping before you eat. Cause I mean, I think food is just such a huge trigger, especially so many people have donuts and everything come through their workplace. And it's hard because it's just there and you mindlessly grab at it. But if you actually stop and look at it for a second, be like, what is this doing for me? Like really, like I know it's going to taste good, but that's going to last about 30 seconds. What else is this donut going to give me beyond those 30 seconds? And those 30 seconds, am I going to feel guilty? Am I going to beat myself up? Am I going to get a stomach ache? Am I going to have a sugar crash later? Of just take 15 seconds to evaluate the food before you put it in your face, I think just solves a ton of problems.
And a lot of times you could be, am I hungry? Am I really hungry? Or am I tired? Or am I sleepy? Or am I thirsty? Like it's
Yeah.
questions. I have a whole series like that I have my clients where it's in my Sisterhood of Sweat book, where you can just literally ask yourself, is there something I could have instead?
Yeah.
And I personally can do the 2-bite rule. So if nothing else is going to satisfy, and I've kind of run through those questions, I'll have 2 bites of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
mine was that is just my husband's a garbage disposal. So I'll be like, I'll have 2 bites. You need to eat the rest of this.
Well, I remember, I was trying to think, I think I ordered this birthday cake for my daughter, and it was the best birthday cake I think I've ever eaten. Okay. It had custard filling. It
Ooh.
had, Oreo crumbles. It had the chocolate mousse. It had the cheesecake. I mean, anything you could want
I'm
was
turned on
in
right now.
cake at some place, right?
Yeah.
And that was my one weakness. It was birthday cake, because that was always this reward thing in our
Yeah.
house, growing up. And my daughter and I, we freaking polished that thing off. And I'm a health nut. And I told the lady that was the best cake I have ever had. That's why I can never order it again.
Yeah, right.
Like, I can't. It's like, no,
It's
because
your birthday every week.
yeah, I was like, I can never order from you. It was too good. But I think, we don't put crack in front of a crack addict. And if you're a sugar addict, I just find you got to get the sugar out of the house and find some natural sweetness in your food.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
just get all the junk out of your house and set yourself up to win, like Amanda does. Can you run through like some of your food prep ideas with the people and just some of the things you do that would be helpful for them?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what I do, I do a whole week out, which I know a lot of people get bored of eating the same things over and over again. So, I mean, you don't have to be as hardcore as I am. I don't mind eating the same stuff. So I prep 5, 6 days out. But for me, what I do is before I think of when I'm going to prep out, I use my Fitness Pal. I use the free version, and I kind of map out what like. Even before I sit down, I feel like, what do I feel like eating this week? How's my body feeling? Do I feel kind of bloated and gross and I want to keep the carbs a little bit lower? What are my workouts going to look like this week? And just kind of go with the vibe of what I'm feeling and what sounds good. And I will just kind of map out a menu of like what I think sounds good for breakfast and lunch and dinners. And I'll plug them all into my Fitness Pal and then try to manipulate everything and kind of get it around a calorie range that I feel good with. And I'll kind of mix those up with my snacks during the day. So if I have a heavy lift day, then I'll have a carb heavier snack around my workout. Or if I don't, then I might just do like a hard boiled egg and some fruit and kind of keep things a little bit lighter. For breakfast, I really like just eggs. I like a high protein. I don't like a lot of carbs for breakfast. If I do an oatmeal, I do Instapot steel cut oats and just cook those up for the week. And it takes like total like 15 minutes start to finish. And I portion those out and I'll do like a half a cup of steel cut oats for breakfast, or I'll do like egg muffins. So just eggs and veggies. Anything is a vehicle to try to get more vegetables into my body. So just do some baked eggs and have that with just to try to have some veggies with it in the morning, like kind of like egg white omelet sort of style. So, or a protein shake, depending on how early I'm getting up for the gym. And then post gym, I will have a snack depending on the carbs or not. Usually hard boiled eggs is a go-to for me, or some almond butter and have a fat in there, or maybe um, some like sweet potato. So it doesn't sound that exciting, but I like it. And then for lunch, I typically keep everything kind of well-rounded with a carb, a protein, and some vegetables. And so I'll do like a half a cup of quinoa or rice, or like this week, what I did butternuts, or I did spaghetti squash and
Love
meatballs
that.
and with broccoli. And it's like, really, if you put it all into my Fitness Pal, it's not a ton of calories, but it feels like you're eating a ton of food. And so I got my carb in there, I have my vegetable, I have my protein, and then I'll have an apple with that. And then this afternoon snack, I'll do some veggies and cottage cheese. And for dinners that I'm doing this week is just a gigantic salad. So it's super easy. Just throw a bunch of veggies into a bowl, and I put a can of tuna in there, and I use some Bragg's vinaigrette. And because I'm a quantity eater, so I like a big old honkin' salad.
It's
So
the best thing to have at night is a huge salad.
yeah,
I've done many competition preps where that's what we had every single night.
yeah, it's just like, because you're eating a ton, you're getting all your veggies in, and then like I usually feel after eating a huge salad, especially at night, I don't feel as tempted to want to be snacky and really kind of want to get in to start digging into more stuff. I don't know, like a big salad stops that for some reason.
It's because you're actually wired to chew so many times per day. Like your brain like literally lets you know if you haven't chewed enough.
Oh,
So
really? That's
yes.
crazy.
So yeah, it's real science. So if you haven't chewed enough, that's why you start having all these cravings too. So having a salad at night is ideal because you're crunching, chewing, you're getting all that chewing in,
Yeah.
and that's another reason why you should not just drink your food all the time. Like a lot of people drink their food.
Yeah. Well, yeah, then it just doesn't fill you up and it feels like it goes away in a
That
second.
and it, when you chew, you set off digestive enzymes and juices. So like if you're not chewing your food, you're not setting yourself up to win with all that digestive juice secretion.
Mhm.
I know like some proteins have digestive enzymes, which that's huge. And I know we're a lot in a hurry. So I'm not saying don't ever have shakes, but it shouldn't be the majority of what you're having.
Yeah. Well, and then plus you got protein farts. Nobody wants to be around you during that.
oh, oh, oh my gosh. That's why I mean, I can only do certain proteins,
Well,
because
yeah, I was just having a conversation earlier.
nobody wants you to be gassy.
Yeah, nobody wants a stat stank, or if like you forget a protein shaker bottle like in your car and you go to open it up to wash it and you're like, oh God, oh, how does it get so disgusting so quick?
Oh my gosh, that is so true too. And also, you can only assimilate so much protein at a time. So like I wouldn't want to overdo the amount that I'm taking in, because then you're going to just smell it coming out of my pores.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally, because I can remember being at fitness shows where everybody's dieted down and, they're lean and mean and all of that, but I don't want to get on an elevator with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can just smell it.
Whenever you did a show afterwards, did you like go out and like have a huge meal, or did you?
Okay, so I still remember, my friend's going to kill me for calling her out. I remember when Karen Shea and I went to Fitness America. It was one of our first times, and I just remember we had been low carb. I mean, woo! And so it was that meal after, and I don't even think, I was trying to remember what we had. I don't think it was all that much, of anything.
Mm-hmm.
But we were laughing like we were drunk. Like it was just on food, because we hadn't had anything that had any amount of sugar or high insulin spike. So I personally learned not to do that. I know how to do after show dieting, and you should not just hop off like that. There's a whole science to it. That's why people have rebounds after shows, because they're not doing it correctly. Like,
Yeah.
you don't want to just be like low carb, and then all of a sudden pull up to the tank and say, fill her up.
Yeah, right. Just pizza party for days. It seems like that would just like totally wreck you.
Well, yeah, and that's the whole point too, is I don't want to just look good for a show. I want to feel good and look good for my life,
Yeah.
And I think coming to the conclusion of what is healthy and what is extreme was a journey for me during contest dieting.
Yeah, I just have so much respect for everybody that's done that and for you doing that, because I have some friends that have, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like the most intense. I mean, it is just the most determination, laser focus. Like, it's hardcore.
You learn how to be disciplined and just tweak. Like, I know how to tweak 6 ways to Sunday, but I also know what really is like, after doing this for years upon years and training tons of people and having tons of coaches, I always think about, what are the benefits? What outweighs the risk? Like, is this worth it at the end of the day? Because overall, I just want to project vibrant health.
Yeah. And I've seen some people where it doesn't really look like they look that healthy.
Well, yeah. I mean, and maybe they learn after a while, because it was a learning process. And I think overall, it's what is this besides a plastic trophy at the end of the day? Like,
Yeah.
how do I want to feel all year long? How do I want to feel when I'm 58, I'm 57? How do I want to feel, when I'm off of the stage? Like,
Mm-hmm.
not just on the stage. And what is this going to take from me? Like, just knowing the science behind it, knowing that you do need to have some carbohydrates, and for brain function, for your adrenals. Like, if you go too long without carbohydrates and do too much cardio, you can totally burn your adrenals out,
Mm-hmm.
and just, I think, at the end of the day, it should be healthy and fun.
Do you think that you would do it again?
Oh gosh, I've done it for 17 years. Yeah, I mean, like, I learned how to contest diet healthy, not in a extreme way.
But you're not gonna. I mean, are you gonna try to get on stage again?
I just did in April. So I
Oh,
showed
did
up.
you really? Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Dang,
I've been competing since I was 40. I'll still keep doing it. Yeah.
that's awesome.
I
Badass.
like doing it. It's fun, and I love having a goal because it really you kind of get addicted to having a goal because it just really keeps the needle moving forward. It just, for me, it keeps it exciting and fun. I don't know. For me, I just love having a goal.
Yeah. Well, you just came off an injury though, didn't you?
I came off of 2 injuries.
So, I mean, how does that feel? Like that? I mean, does that slow you
That
down?
was, oh, it did slow me down for sure, for sure. And it should have slowed me down more. And because I tried to get back up too quickly, I think I had another injury. But the injury more wasn't from the diet. It was more from just, I think I did too many shows in 1 year. So
Gotcha.
I won't do that again. It was just too many.
But you're feeling good now?
I feel great.
Yay. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. We can all have injuries, and that's the other thing. I had the healthy eating down. I had to also learn that as your body starts to age, like as you get older, even if I didn't feel older, my body is getting older. So I have to like not over exercise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard. I feel like you get into this spin cycle sometimes where you get kind of obsessive about it and you're like, that's where I was anyway. I went from never exercising to kind of getting where I'm like, I've just like lived in the gym and then I was hurting myself and pushing myself through it. And then now here I am. I got bone on bone in my right knee and they're like, yeah, you can't do a lot of this stuff anymore. I'm like, oh, and I'm like, oh, I should have taken it a little bit easier, but it's
Well,
just like it
I,
gets in you.
I hear you on that, and I think and it's a good thing for people to hear too, because you could go from binge eating to binge exercising. Because
Yeah.
for me, I think it was a good thing that I had to slow down, because I recognized it was my coping mechanism. Exercise was my
Yeah.
coping mechanism. And so, not that that's a bad coping mechanism, but I had to learn to have other things, other coping mechanisms, like when I'm having stress, if I'm always, if I just like am really stressed, can you imagine how much I'm exercising?
Yeah.
So I had to learn, okay, there's other things that I need to do and redirect that. And so I did. And now I feel like really good. So I think that's the whole key is everything in moderation.
Totally. And it's funny because I hired a personal trainer in 2018 and I'd never had just like a one-on-one personal trainer before, and basically having him was to slow me down because I was going to the gym 7 days a week and then I was injured, and he was like, I had to have somebody in my life to be like, no, let's slow you down and let's work on correctives. Like, let's get things moving in a better pace instead of you just pushing through it. So I feel like so many people hire a trainer to like motivate them and push them and work harder. And I needed to hire a trainer to like pull me back. It's like the opposite of what you would think.
Oh, well, I probably still need that. I mean,
Yeah.
because I still am sure I do more, but I hear you on that. And I think having a good trainer is worth its weight in gold, because they can see for you what you can't see for yourself, and
Mhm.
having that knowledge to be able to say, well, if you break your body down every day, it's going to break down.
Yeah.
So where's your rest days? And more is not better, less is more.
Yeah, definitely. And for me, it's like learning the smaller movements because I have like a lot of issues going on and with my legs and my knees and my hips, and like I just would just crank through it instead of like, okay, no, we need to focus on these smaller exercises and work these smaller muscles to kind of get you in a better alignment. And it's, for me, it's so frustrating. Like, I just want to go throw some heavy weights around, not doing breathing exercises and all these tiny little movements. I'm like, oh my god, this is killing me. But I'm like, I know it's good for me. Just like with anything, it's just like, okay, well, these are got to be small little goals, one day at a time. This is doing something for me. Don't be mad about it. I'm doing myself a favor. And me going and throwing heavy weights around, I've already seen where that's gotten me, or going for runs, even though it hurt, it just got me injured. So it's a learning curve.
Right. And I think too, it's just embracing where you are and realizing too, exercise is not the end all be all. Like if you're eating clean and you have healthy relationships, and you're getting sleep, the exercise could be less and you're still going to get amazing results.
For sure. And I feel like with a lot of people too, just like keep their calorie ranges and stuff so low, and it's like, well, sometimes eating more is going to make you healthier and give you a better result. Like it feels like a lot of people, at least myself as an example, kind of just like peg it one way or the other, and it's just trying to find that good healthy balance in the middle with your food and your exercise and meditation and mental health. And I feel like that's where you got to learn lessons on both extremes to know where to meet in the middle.
Well, if your body feels like it's in prison, like if you're just rationing out food, it's probably going to want to break out of jail. I mean, it's going to
Yeah.
be like, I just feel like, and another thing is if you're not eating enough calories for your daily caloric, not eating enough, your body does hang on to whatever you're not giving it. Like, it's meant for survival. It will hang on to fat if you're not giving it fat. It will hang on to water if you're not giving it water. Like, more water in is more water out. So
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of times we think like, if I exercise more and I eat less, I'm going to lose weight. And it just really doesn't always work like that. Now, not to say that fasting isn't good, because fasting's amazing, but like, I wouldn't want, like, fasting speeds up your metabolism, but like, if you're a woman and you're only eating 1,000 calories or 800 calories every day, uh over time, like, you're not giving yourself enough calories. Your body literally will hold on to every ounce of fat, and it will hold on.
Yeah.
So that's like so important for women and men in general to realize, to make sure they are eating enough on a regular basis, and for a spring cleaning or a tune up, or a detox, do that fast. That's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like trying to live off like 800 calories a day, I just like don't know how you just wouldn't be angry all the time. I mean, like everybody around me be getting cut.
you be hangry, and I've been
Yeah.
around a few hangry people. I bring snacks.
Yeah, exactly. Gotta be prepared. It's like the Snickers commercial where you're different after you eat. You need this.
I mean, it's true. Some people truly really they just get so hungry and angry. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I get
Oh my
it.
gosh. Oh my gosh. So, if you had to tell somebody the best tips, and they have right now, they just feel like, I can't do it, Amanda. I've tried. I'm not, I can't see myself turning down cookies. What would be the best advice that you could give them to get where you are now?
I think my best advice would just to be kinder to yourself. If you're already going to start it off by saying, I can't do this, you've already set yourself up for failure. So you kind of have to change your mindset to be like, well, I can, and how am I going to do it, rather than like, well, I've done this before and it failed. And just that attitude alone, it's ultimately just going to fail. So I think that getting your mindset right and knowing exactly why you want to do it and having good reasons, like really be honest with yourself of why you really want to do it, of is it to fit in this pair of jeans, is it to be skinny, is it to be hot, or is it to be healthy? And so you can just feel better and be better for everyone around you. Just anything, whatever your why is whatever is specific to each individual person, but like have a real honest conversation with yourself about what you really want, and then really go for it and know that it's going to take some time and you're going to fail, but then also to have the mindset in those failures to be like, what lesson is in this, rather than I'm failing and I suck and the scale went up and I don't know why and I just want to scream, of like, well, okay, well then maybe that's a lesson to know that you shouldn't weigh yourself every day because it gets in your head and it makes you crazy. So then, I mean, so that's where then you have a relationship with the scale, or whatever food or exercise you have, of everything that you do, just kind of evaluate it and try to see see the positive in it, even if it feels in the moment like it's a huge negative.
I love that. That is so good. It's such, I mean, I think that's so true, just to flip that mindset switch. And a lot of times, you'll hear people, they don't hear themselves, by the way. They have all kinds of resistance things, and they don't understand that they want to know what's holding them back. And that is essentially what's holding them back, is the resistance of saying, I can't food prep. I don't have time to food prep. I uh
I've
I
got no self-control. My kids don't want to eat that way. Like, I
yes.
mean, the list goes on, and
Let's
it's
keep building the list. I just want you to throw the list out there.
yeah. I
I
mean, it's anything. I'm just like, I can't, there's, people want me to
oh,
go
I
out to
think
lunch at work.
I'm gonna hurl if I have to eat eggs one more time.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I hate
maybe.
vegetables.
I hate vegetables. I don't eat broccoli. I don't like green things. What Speak to that a little bit, because I think that's huge.
Which the hating vegetables thing.
The resistance.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's just, again, that's just, I think so much of it is in your head, and I think it's also like looking around you for a good support system too. If you feel like
Right.
you're with a crew of people, family or friends or coworkers that are kind of feeding into negativity of just like, yeah, you just come on, just do in which, dude, I face every day the peer pressure people of, come on, it's just one. And then you feed into that and you believe those sorts of things. It's kind of taking a look around you, and maybe you do like need a better support system. So it can be like, yeah, you can do this, instead of, yeah, you suck at this. And I think that's why, like, on like the internet is so great that you can find, a group of people. You can listen to a podcast. You can find your crew on Facebook, on Instagram. You can find a gym like your gym of like-minded women, of like, just find your crew, just find somebody, a support buddy that is, can, in those moments where you're like, this sucks and I can't do this and I hate everything, that you got somebody that understands where you're at and kind of has your back and will listen and will help you
And
along the
give
way.
you some support.
For sure. I think that asking for help is so hard for people, like especially women, of to just, especially when it's something so close to you, like your body, and talking about diet and exercise, that you won't ask for help of like, well, I'm embarrassed. I don't want to get a trainer because they're going to judge me. Or, I don't really know what I'm doing, like in the produce department. So I'm just going to not go there. But I think that if you just ask somebody to help you through it, then, I mean, it's not as scary as you think, is you just got to kind of be in the right mind of, if it's that important to you, then you need to just reach out and ask for help.
And also just like thinking like everyone's judging you, or taking a yoga class and you feel like your belly is hanging over your leg. I mean,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
you feel like people are judging you. You feel like they're going to think you're stupid if you can't do down dog, you're doing up dog at the wrong time. uh it really, I think, first of all, is to let go of what other people think about you, because what other people think of you does not matter. It's what you think about yourself that counts.
Oh, totally. And and even like in most gym scenarios, because have totally been that person and still am in certain instances of like doing, different workout classes, is so, but everybody else is in their own head just as much as you are in yours. Nobody is paying attention to whatever the heck you're doing. They're worried about themselves. So knowing that, it's like, well, they're more worried about themselves than me, because I've done plenty of Zumba classes and I have no rhythm and I'm like running into the wall and everything else, and no one notices and no one cares. They're just like, you showed up, you get a high five. So I think it's so much, we're tying our own shoelaces together and just not doing things at all because we're just have this anxiety around it, when really it's not bad.
And the truth is, when I have a lot of new people, all my other people love to help.
Oh yeah.
They love to help. They want to help the new people.
Yeah. So I feel like, yeah, like especially, coming off like New Year's, and so many people are, have the New Year's resolution mindset and go into the gym for the first time. And they're just worried if people are going to be like, oh, a newbie, of like, I've never had that experience. I've never seen anybody be helpful. And maybe it's just because I choose the right places to exercise or shop or whatever, but I've never really seen anybody shame anyone or be mean or not be helpful. I think it's just like this thing we've built up in our head, and I think that if somebody is rude to you or mean to you, then that's just a sign that that's not your place.
Right, right. You got to find your place, the place you fit in. And you do some, I mean, I was going to say, and you feel comfortable, but sometimes you just have to get uncomfortable to get comfortable. I got to say it because um, not everything that you do is going to feel comfortable to you if you're out of shape or you haven't exercised in a while, but it will feel comfortable to you in 2 weeks and 3 weeks and
Mm-hmm.
4 weeks. You'll get comfortable being uncomfortable, and then I think it becomes a craving and an addiction, which is a good addiction to have. Being into your fitness and your health.
Yeah, totally. It's just making that first step is just hard, but it's like once you get going, you're like, oh my God, why did I wait so long? I feel like almost everybody kind of feels that way of like, like why would I could have been doing this so long ago? Like I can't imagine that like my life not being this way. It's just getting that first place is just scary. So it's like if somebody's teetering on the edge, then you just gotta go for it.
And when you decided to make a change, what was the hardest thing for you to overcome?
I think the hardest thing for me was probably just like the binge eating stuff. And it was just because that was just of me kind of unlocking that within my, like really looking into my emotions and looking at the reasons why I did things, because I never really had done that before. Everything was just slapping band-aids on stuff. So for me, I think it was just really kind of like, no, if I really want some solutions, you have to look at the root of the problem. So like for me, I think that was at the beginning the hardest, because it's just looking in the mirror and being really honest with yourself and who you are and what you do and what do you want. I mean, those are all hard, really hard life questions of like, what do I really want out of my life? Like, who do I want to be? And then just start going towards that life. And I feel like I've gone through so many multiple different kinds of transformations in my life that like you can absolutely do it. It's, it's kind of like that feeling where, when you leave high school to go to college and be like, I can be a whole new person because these people don't know me. I can like totally change my vibe. You know what I mean? I'm like, like I can reinvent myself, but it's like you can do that any day. You could just choose to do that right now and be like, well, I don't like this person I am for whatever reason. And you can
Show
make
up
this
different.
drastic change. Yeah. And to do those things and but to do that, it's hard. It's really taking a really close examination of who you are. And that's not an easy thing to do all the time.
And I would just say, when you're doing what Amanda did, like what she suggested, and you're looking at why, to sit with it without judgment of yourself, to just kind of let those thoughts and feelings come up, but don't really judge like yourself, you
Oh,
know.
for sure. And I wouldn't like, and to do it for why you want to do it, not because you're trying to please someone else of like, oh, well, someone will like me better if I'm this way, or I'd have, more luck in my job if I'm this way or whatever. I'm like, if you're truly doing it for you and not trying to please someone else, then that's going to keep you on the goal. That's what's going to keep you consistent and determined, because I mean, you're with you forever. Like other people come and go out of your life. And if you're doing it for someone else, then they are no longer in your life. Then what are you doing it for anymore? So it's, just really having those true reasons of why. So, I mean, when you think of just being like happy and healthy, those are pretty good reasons. And so that can, I find those reasons to be keeps me determined and consistent, because I know what it feels like to not have that kind of life. I know what it feels like, what I felt like before, and I wasn't happy, and I don't want to feel that way anymore.
Yeah, I think thinking about how what I think thinking about what you want, how you want to feel, all those things take the focus off the negative. It's just thinking about, at the end of the day, how do you want to feel, um, and just your goals. What are your small goals instead of making it like all about the weight though. I mean, I don't think it should be all about the scale.
No, I don't. Yeah, I have a turbulent relationship with the scale. So it's like we have sometimes it's every day and it feels good, but the moment that it starts getting in my head too much and I get obsessive over it, it's got like I have learned it has to go away. Like that's goes to a point where it's not healthy for me anymore. So it's but that's also just, being self-aware and knowing that if I get on the scale and it makes me cry and I'm frustrated and I'm like, why? Like I did everything right. How am I up 3 pounds from eating one meal? That meal did not weigh even 3 pounds. And you just get mad. I'm like, this is not doing me any good. This is stressing me out. This is going to make things even worse. So it's like, okay, well, I need to take a little break from
And so
Mr.
when
Scale here.
I would do that, I would say to myself, okay, you're not weighing yourself. You're you're going to just focus on the plan, on eating healthy, getting sleep, getting exercise, and trust the process.
Yeah.
And it always works. Like I didn't need to watch the scale because watching the scale never made it move. I know that's cliche,
Yeah,
but it's so true.
for sure. And it just feels like that, especially if like for me, having a lot of weight to lose, you almost, it's like a drug. You get excited to watch those numbers go down and down and down. And then ultimately, because everybody does, you hit a plateau and then it just wrecks you because you're used to it like being this positive reinforcer. And all of a sudden it's not
Oh, yes.
giving it
Right,
to you
right, right.
anymore. And then it's just tearing you apart. And it's like, okay, so now what's my relationship with the scale? It's not always just the good news giver.
Right,
Um,
right. And also, I mean, a scale doesn't tell you how much is muscle, how much is water, how much is bone, how much you're not like the scale is not really, it's a measurement, yes, but it's not an accurate measurement of what is actually going on in the body.
Oh, for sure. That's why like pictures are so good. I'm so bad at taking them now, but a picture will show
I
you
love
a
taking
lot.
pictures. I love teaching people how to pose so they look good in their picture because it is all about the way you pose.
Oh yeah, I'm really bad at that. I had somebody try to pose me so I could do like the Instagram booty shot once, and I'm like, oh my god, like I don't know if I can do this. I'm like, man, just respect for everybody who can rock this pose because I feel like I'm dumb when I'm doing it.
I actually think I'm thinking about having a class, like teaching people how to pose, like
Oh
just
my god, that'd be awesome.
I mean seriously, it's a game changer. I remember we were at this at Fitness Universe and I took 6 girls with me and I remember we were doing a photo shoot and the one gal kept saying, "You don't understand. I'm an accountant. I don't understand how to pose." And then she was like, "I don't know how to be a sex kitten." It's like so funny. I was like, oh my gosh, because we were doing a photo shoot on the beach.
Did she get it though? Did she get the hang
She
of it?
did, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's empowering to. I mean, personally, I think it's empowering to embrace your sexuality and not be ashamed of the beautiful body God gave you.
Oh,
So,
totally. That's
and
why it's like if it makes you feel good and you're just like, oh damn, I'm rocking it, then just go for it.
and and I'm not saying be all sleazy or whatever, but I just think that embrace what you got, like you said.
Oh, for sure.
Well, this has been so great today. And Amanda, she has a podcast. You guys will have to listen to it if you love this as much as I did today, called Pound This. And she is coming out with a cookbook
Yeah.
called Bite This. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah, so it's all about it's just basically kind of like a meal prep 101 if you've never done meal prepping and stuff before. I do on my Instagram page every Sunday. I go through my whole meal prep process. So and I'm yelling at animals and doing all sorts of weird stuff. And my Instagram is you can pound this. So from that, I just feel like so many people, it feels like overwhelming. Like you see pictures of like meal prep porn, which I totally follow, like a nice organized fridge. I'm like, oh yeah. But it's like for that, it's like, well, how did you do that? Like, how long did it take you? Like, what does it really look like to put the meals together for an entire week? So every Sunday I show everybody what I do in a fun way and show that it's not that hard and it's not that expensive and you can have fun while doing it.
I love it. And her Instagram is so motivating and inspirational. Make sure you guys do check it out because it really is a full journey of how she did what she did to be where she is right now. And also the cookbook. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? It's coming out soon.
Yeah, it's an e-cookbook and it's for breakfast, for lunch, for dinners, for snacks. So it could get you through like your first month of meal prepping. And each recipe comes with a shopping list, a recipe, and a video showing you how to make it. So
Awesome.
yeah,
That's
so it's
awesome.
and in the videos too, it's like not just like a quick 30-second like slap stuff together. It's like showing you in real time like how I'm making everything, like what it really like looks like, and then also just kind of like sharing advice and stories while I'm making each food. So and they're all just super simple and easy because I found, you know, especially like going through Pinterest and looking through people's recipes, like that looks beautiful and amazing, but that has like 18 ingredients that I don't own. And that's going to take 1,000 years to cook that one thing. It won't last for a week. So everything that I make is just, you want to make it as tasty as possible. I mean, it's got to taste good because you're going to eat it for a week straight, but also make it very clean and simple. So the fewer ingredients, the better. I'm a huge fan of spices, of just kind of using a good clean ingredient spice because you can make that same chicken breast taste, you know, in 15 different ways by just spicing it up a little bit differently. And so that's kind of what my first ebook is kind of all about, is just kind of your meal prep basics, easy things that you can do just to be idea starters so you can start cooking a little bit healthier in a little bit more imaginative ways than your standard chicken breast and broccoli.
And I think it's great that you also added videos. I like to do a lot of cooking videos because I think cooking is almost like a lost art. And you would be shocked at how many people just don't cook these days.
Oh, totally. I mean, it was just, I mean, such a fast food culture. Just everything is, you know, convenience wise. That's why I think meal prepping is so great because it is
Yeah.
convenient and, you know, it's just, and you can control what goes into it rather than just constantly, you know, being hungry. Oh, what am I going to do? Well, then you're going to go pick up some burgers and fries and you do that every day of the week. Not only does that add up, you know, a toll on your body, but it does on your wallet. It costs more than if you just prepped it all out for a week.
And the thing is too, you know, knowing yourself, you know, like if it's convenient and you're hungry, you're going to grab it. So if you know, plan and you prepare, you're more likely to succeed because your food isn't going to just show up out there perfect the way that you want it.
Yeah.
It's just not. And if you go out to eat, it's usually 3 times the calories of making it yourself.
Well, yeah, and even I mean, going out to eat too. I think that you struggle with the thing of, well, I'm here, I'm out, I'm having this experience going out to eat. Do I really just want to get a really plain salad when this place is like known for their pasta dishes? And you're like, well, I'm paying for it. I want to go for it. And so then that falls into a trap if you're doing that all the time. But it's easier if like, hey, I already, you know, especially I like the example of all the free food comes into the workplace of like just some rando just sandwiches show up that they're like, yeah, they're okay. And but do you really want them? Like you spent time and money preparing that food that you already have prepped in the kitchen, of like, would you rather go for that or just go for this like, it's a sandwich, it's free, and that's really the only thing going for it. So for me, it gives me choices of, yeah, I'd rather go with the thing that I prepared. I spent time and money on that. I don't want to end up having to throw it away because I wanted to eat this crappy deli sandwich. So I just like that it just gives you a healthier option. Not even to say that you would have to choose it every time. Sometimes I'd be at work and like some cheesecake could roll in there and I'm like, that's going to happen. That looks really good. But it's also, but I had a choice. It wasn't like I'm starving, I have no option. I have to raid the vending machine because I didn't give myself another option. So I'm all about being prepared. I have snacks on me at all times. I always got like almond butter, tuna packets, or in my glove compartment, in my purse, and just snacks on me at all times.
I love that. I love that. Today I had all of my food prep all nicely prepared. Went into the gym. I usually am there at 5:30 a.m. every morning. and I forgot my utensils.
Oh no.
And I was like, right, all this nice food prepared. And I mean, I was like, I don't even have a straw to try to scoop it up with. So I was like, oh my gosh, like, well, I guess I could just do what the cavemen do and eat with my hands, I guess.
And just be like a little angry raccoon, just like scooping it up.
And my client was like, oh, no. I've got silverware. I'll be right back.
Hey, she's prepared. I like a
And
lady
then,
that has silverware on her at all times.
yeah, and then my friend says on Instagram, hey, that's why I always keep silverware in the car.
Yeah, that's
Just like,
smart,
hint,
man.
hint.
You always
So
want to spork around.
they didn't want me eating like a heathen out there. So,
Yeah.
but I would have.
Oh yeah. So would I. Get me drunk, and that's just that's my preference of how I eat.
That's the sad part. I'll do whatever it takes. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it has been so awesome to have you on today, Amanda. And I would like to repay the favor on Pound This coming up soon.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
you guys check it out. Check out her podcast. Get her cookbook. I'll let you know when it comes out. I'm going to put it in the show notes. And review this and let Amanda know how much you enjoyed her journey today.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you, everybody, for listening to the Sisterhood of Sweat.